Lightning like Steve McQueen. I'm in the fast lane when the light turns green. And I built tough, I ain't nothing but grit. Cause I made rugged blood, sweat, and spit. Yeah, like a horse I fly. Better push yourself in for a bumpy ride. I like to play hard, but I work harder. And I weather the storm cause I'm built stronger.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Morning Show, the top morning show in transportation, coming to you every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines and to provide some actual insight for you in what you can do with all of this information that isn't always geared for your benefit. Sometimes they just like you to click on an article and, you know, improve their numbers at all, and they could give two shits less about your business. But we do here at the Freight Coach Network. We really give a shit about your business. It's literally why I fly the American flag so proudly behind me every single day, you guys, because I'm living my American dream. And I want to help you guys live all of your American dream as well. That's what it's all about keeping people in business through actual information that you can apply, utilize, and see a meaningful difference out there. Before we jump in, I got a very special guest for you guys today. The second best looking man in freight, because I'm the best looking man in freight, to put it out there. But yeah, he'll be on here and we're going to break down some stuff. But got to give a shout out to my friends over at VHub. You guys, vhubapp.com. Hit them up. Access to trailers, whether you're a broker, carrier, or a shipper even alike. We all need them at some point in time. And especially right now with rising fuel costs and everything else, if you're a one-truck operation or a small carrier, you shouldn't have to shut one of your trucks down because one of the trailers is in the shop. And the best part about it, you guys, you get paid to do this. That's right. You get paid to do this. So right now they got brand new drive-ins over in Paragould, Arkansas, and Glade Spring, Virginia, going up to Orting, Washington. You get $15.50 to do that, you guys. That's on top of the revenue that you can get by loading those trailers out as well. They also have a reefer over in Clearfield, Utah, going into Henderson, Colorado, $700 to do that. And then also down in Florida right now, West Palm Beach, Florida, going to I can't even pronounce that city in New York. I'm gonna botch that one. But you get paid $1,500 to do that, you guys. Hit them up, vhubapp.com. They're out here helping you guys with everything that they got. Xavier Campos, Stacey Steen, they'll be in the audience here at some point today. Hit them up. And yeah, I got a very special guest for you guys. Shout outs. Good fucking morning, Sonny Sharma. Great to see you back. The OG member of the Orange Shirt Gang. Zach Williams, let's fucking go, buddy. You are correct. You guys, Zach's with SPI Logistics. If you want to become a freight agent, take control of your future and start your own operation, man, hit him up, SPI3PL.com. Whitney Fowler, happy hump day. Digging hard into my cold call list today. She says, the more you try, the more you'll succeed. The best thing about cold calling in your phone, Whitney, is it's an ATM. It's literally a license to print money. All you got to do is pick it up and dial. All right, I'm going to bring him on right now. Mr. Kyle Lintner's back. He's one of my favorite people on earth because, you know what, he just doesn't hold anything back, and that's why I enjoy talking to him. So what's up, man? Good to see you.
It's great to see you too, bud. And yeah, you don't hold anything back either, so the conversations are always pretty wonderful.
I know. We do have 3 articles chosen, but if you've watched any of the episodes that Kyle's been on with me, there's a high probability, if you're a betting person, that we're not going to get to all 3 because we just like to riff and keep it real with people and everything else. So, man, what's new? What's new out there in your world?
Not a whole lot, the usual stuff. Lose some customers, pick up new ones, but just trying to make more and more companies more efficient and better at what they do.
Yeah, so I mean, you're essentially a full-fledged consultant now. You're out there working with, I mean, is it brokers and carriers and tech companies? Like what's your wheelhouse and stuff out there for anybody who wants to learn more and reach out to you?
I would say the wheelhouse is the brokerage, and yeah. I don't think that's just happenstance. I don't think it's coincidence. I think it's because a lot of what I try and do is increase the efficiencies of your organization as it pertains to how you interact with the marketplace. So given my history, there's probably some overlap there. And everything I do is try and make sure that your business is best suited to capitalize on things that go on outside of your 4 walls and then improve everything that's going on inside of your 4 walls. And once we start doing that stuff, it's similar to picking up the phone and using that as an ATM. The removal of losses literally grows the balance sheet more than you can believe.
And that's the thing, man, is it's like, and I talk about this a lot with my clients and stuff, is it's like, you guys, it's the hidden costs, the stuff that'll never show up on your balance sheet. Those are the most detrimental to your organization, and that's what I just want people to understand is it's like, we need to be in a position where we're eliminating the redundancies, because there's a ton of redundancies that are out there for in most brokerages, and I'm just speaking of that from my experience in the industry. So like, has there been any like common themes right now? Cause I know like obviously like tech is always at the forefront, but I've also seen people use tech wrong, and it's actually cost them more than it was in the initial of investment, excuse me.
Yeah, 100%. I'd say the most common time I see it is in line with a software that's out there that tries to prevent this very thing. A lot of times when these brokerages want to grow, they think that they need to get as much freight as possible, right? That's how you grow. Let's just go get it. And a lot of them still have that same idea. Like, I don't want to just take anything. I want it to still be profitable, right? Everybody knows the VC backed or the hyper growth brokerages that are just revenue at all costs, and they have an exit plan and they never are profitable. That's a different thing. But still, you get into some of these other brokerages and they want to take any load that's possible. They want to grow as fast as you could possibly imagine. And they think the $50, hey, if I get this load and I make $50, I still make $50, or I make $20, whatever it is. It's grow, 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 grow. They ignore some of the unit economics that go around with that and the costs that are associated with covering that load. And oftentimes they think, hey, I made $50 on it. I made $50. And it isn't until I show them that based off headcount, vendors, and their cost of doing business, that each time they cover a load, their expenses are $62 a load. So every time you took that load that you thought you made $50 on, you actually lost 12. So a lot of what I do is trying to identify what they're good at. Where is your carrier base? What are the types of loads that you can cover? And let's grow that portion of the business while eliminating some of this other stuff that for whatever that reason you might be, you're just not very good at covering, because you will add and add and add more payroll and headcount to try and grow that part, but it'll never get to where you want it to be because it's not profitable. You'll just grow and become a huge size business, and you'll look up and wonder, why am I still making the same amount of money I did when we had half the people working here?
Yeah. And that's one of the best things that XPO, when I was in leadership there early in my career, is they had that algorithm down. Like, hey, and again, I don't know if this is still the case, or hell, I can't even say with 100% certainty this was the number, but it was in like the low 70s of $70 per load is what like the acquisition cost was, and the processing cost to actually run it through the life cycle in your organization. So, that is it's like, I mean, if you don't have that stuff, that's something that I would highly recommend you find out right away, because that's going to stifle your growth more than you could ever imagine. Because again, like most people's, like again, if you pulled 100 freight brokers right now, 100% of them are going to say, I want to grow next year, but probably 95% of them are going to say, I just need to hire more people. And that's not always the case.
Yeah. When I first got into this business around 4 years ago, we really started to push the narrative of profit per load. PPL, what are we making on an individual load basis? I think enough companies are monitoring that now, but they still don't look at expense per load. And that's that hidden cost. And that's, everybody knows the loss leader, but do you truly know what that loss leader cost you? Or is it even really a loss leader? That's a whole different problem. Everybody thinks they get into there and, oh yeah, we have to take this lane. It gets our foot in the door with it. All right, well, are you doing the next step? Are you getting all the extra stuff to actually offset the losses on that loss leader? Or are you just saying, hey, this is a great account, and it's the account that 20% of your company is dedicated to, and you make 1% of your money on? Enough people want to focus on the gross profit. Nobody ever looks at the net. Yeah.
Very, very, very accurate, sir. Bob Hazarati, good morning. Let's go. All right, let's jump into the first article. This one is going to be from FreightWaves, and this is: shippers think a little less of 3PL's value supply chain report finds, but most shippers still feel 3PLs contribute to solid service. That you'll let you run with that contradictory headline and subheadline all you want there. The traditional perception between how shippers and third-party logistics providers view the relationships has widened in supply chain volatility and ongoing service disruptions, according to a long-running survey that was released on Monday. About 83% of shipper respondents said their 3PL relationships are successful, according to the 27th third-party logistics study. However, historically, the percentage of satisfied shippers reported have been at 90% or higher. The report canvassed 341 users and non-users of 3PL services, along with 3PLs. It was released at the Council of Supply Chain Management Professionals meeting. 3PLs typically possess a more I don't even know what the sanguine, I don't even know what that word means, attitude toward their shipper relationships. And the findings from this year's study continue to trend. According to the study, 99% of 3PLs perceive their shipper relationships to be successful. Now, I mean, that number is not shocking at all. Every fucking 3PL thinks that they're the fucking best ever.
Right.
But, you know, it did say that 71% of the shippers said using 3PLs had led to improved customer service, and that's down from 73%, and about 71% of the shippers and 92% of the 3PLs said 3PLs provided innovative solutions to boost logistics performance. So I'm going to let you run with this one here for a little bit, man.
Well, first, I can't believe that it wasn't 100% on the brokerage response. Right?
I know. One person was honest, at least, and that's probably the person who's moving the most business.
Yeah. What bothered me with the article was very, very similar to the things that we were just talking about. And that's where a broker succeeds and where a broker provides true value at is what gets overlooked when we think about brokers, especially if we put ourselves in the shipper's shoes for a minute. And it sounds like those shippers' views is why that percentage of happiness dropped. The shipper often thinks that the broker is like a necessary evil or someone that they have to deal with and they don't want to deal with. But if we think about what the broker, at least in freight in this modern day, still does, you know, originally a broker was someone that just did the work for you. The broker now to a shipper is a one-to-many. You know, the shipper doesn't want to onboard 50,000 carriers, right? If I use a broker, I get access to those 50,000 carriers, and I only onboarded one provider. And to be completely frank and blunt about all of this stuff, the reason why brokers are a necessary evil, if you want to still think about it like that, say you're the enterprise shipper and you put out your RFP for bid, and you're lucky enough to say I can put this out to the top 10 largest asset carriers, you're still going to end up with a large chunk of your lanes not even bid on by those big guys, because the asset players only want to run the power lanes. They don't want to touch Albuquerque to Boise, Idaho. Mm-hmm. But who will are these smaller fleets that don't have the luxury of competing on LA to Dallas and Chicago, Atlanta, because they don't have the unit economics to do it. And if the shipper isn't going out to onboard 50,000 small fleets so that he can run his mid-market to small market lane, he has to use a broker for it. But everybody just wants to think of the broker of the people that, you know, reject loads and don't make good on all of their promises and just want to capitalize on spot. That obviously still goes on. That obviously is out there. There are definitely brokers who only run spot and just want to capitalize on that. But for the most part, they are providing the service. They're connecting the shipper to that small fleet, or if it's a smaller shipper, they're essentially doing all of their freight for them because the small shipper isn't taking the time to do it. You have to use the broker. You know, to put out articles of saying that the happiness is done, that's garbage. Of course, you're going to get that. We just had a year where 25% of the loads were being rejected, of course. And yes, I'll say it. Brokerages are the only people that ever reject tenders. Asset players do not. Do you know how hard it is to route your trucks every single week? You're never, ever rejecting a load. Mechanical failures, service failures are the only times that there's a load rejected. And it's the next one, not that one. Brokerages, yes, they're the ones that are going to reject it. But the only reason they reject it is because the price went higher. The only reason the price went higher is because it's the only industry in the world that has non-binding contracts.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. And I think that, you know, again, like to your point about shippers viewing brokers as a necessary evil or a necessary part of this. And I think, like, to me, it's a lot of it to do with the fact that people don't know how to cold call, right? Like, they have a brokerage, and I see this stuff out there on social media all the time, man. It's like, hey, I'm a broker. How do I find shippers? That should be your very first thing you should solve before you go into business is, hey, how do I sell a service that I am trying to make money off of? Because again, as a broker, we don't have a physical product. Like, they bring up technology in there, and yeah, I get it. You guys, technology is cool. And I say this all the time, but your technology means shit if you can't have trucks show up, you know? And for me, it's like, I think, you know, and another thing is it's like, how do I find shippers, or how do I differentiate myself? Well, frankly, stop calling the people and saying that you're good at, like, Atlanta to Chicago, or you're not even saying that. You're just coming in there saying that you'll do everything for them. Just give us everything, you know? And that's why and, you know, a lot of brokers, to your point about that. And I mean, and again, when I speak of brokers, I'm speaking of Chris Jolly's personal experience, because I have moved 3 truckloads in my career. So for me, it was, when that market flipped, of course I was going to reject that tender. Why would I honor a contract that I signed, right? Like, heaven forbid. and that was one of my biggest detriments, is because I was never investing in the other side of the equation as a broker early on in my career. And that was the importance of having a carrier base. All right. And I know that this is always easier said than done. It's easy for me to sit in here and preach all of this information out here because it's not my loads that are on the line in those instances. But I would just plead for people to understand that if you committed for the next 6 months to reutilizing the same carriers who, you know what? Yeah, they might be a couple $100 more expensive than the open market, but you don't have to worry. You don't have that anxiety in you of, I probably shouldn't have booked that fucking truck on this load. Oh, fuck it. Let's roll with it. We're making $800 on it. The general sentiment that's out there for me, it's like, it's always worth the additional money for the carriers, especially the market that we were just coming off of, Kyle. And I think like that has a lot to do with the percentage of they're not happy with their 3PLs, is because, frankly, people were charging sky high rates and providing shittier service overall. So of course they're going to be naturally pissed off. But for those out there who were doing the right thing, they were charging fair market, they were making a little bit of money, because everybody deserves to make money. I'm a fucking capitalist at heart, and you're not going to change my mind on that one. But I think the ones that actually continue to execute upon it, and then now that the market has shifted back into the broker's favor, this is one of those instances where you need to continue to pay the carriers who have essentially had a business, given you a business for the last 2 years when it was extremely volatile. Because for those of you who have came into this industry over the last 18 to 24 months, this is a normal freight market, and you will get bitch slapped with reality when this market shifts back. Because I've never, I guess the gift and the curse is being as like plugged into the social media world as I am. I've never seen driver sentiment towards and their hatred of brokers as high as it is right now. I have never fucking seen it this bad. It's like noticeable, where before it was kind of like 60-40. 40% would bitch about brokers, and then 60% would be like, you guys, it's the market. It is what it is. It's going to be fine. That's flipped. I would say now it's like 60% of the stuff that I see out there is like, fuck these brokers. And they post, the thing is they post pictures of your load postings where you're paying $1 a mile and your fucking name is out there. So again, I know it kind of went off a little bit.
No, here, let me get your thoughts on this. Doesn't it feel like during the peak of craziness when rates were astronomical, some of that carrier sentiment of dislike towards brokers was there then? Yeah, like it was, which you wouldn't think it would be, right? Everybody was making money except your shipper. And, every broker and every carrier is making money hand over fist. And even the cracks were there then. The carriers were still complaining about brokers, and it wasn't the rates they were receiving; it was the treatment, right? Mm-hmm. You get it, yeah. Brokers, everybody was so busy, and that's why the service level dropped. But still, to treat your customer, because the carrier is the customer. That's the forgotten part in this, right? Your carrier is still your customer in this. You are an intermediary with two customers in these transactions, and everybody treats the shipper wonderful. And then to be paying these carriers the money that they were still paying them, but to treat them like shit while doing it makes absolutely no sense. And then now here we are, and the rates are flipped and everything's obviously different. And this is the perfect time to do everything that we've been talking about, right? This is when you should grab that carrier and say, hey, I do have this load every Tuesday and Friday. Do you want it? I'll give you another $150, $200 for it. Lock it up now. Instead, every broker wants to just keep saying, no, why should I give it to you higher? I can get it on the market for less. All right. These are those hidden costs. You're wasting 2 hours of your day covering that load every day. Why? That's 2 hours you can be out acquiring new customers, quoting new business, looking for new carriers on your dedicated stuff. Why are you going to waste your time covering that same load every day when you can lock it up and not do a damn thing?
I mean, that's exactly it. Is how do you expect to grow? To your point about how people are going to look at it and be like, we're making the same amount of money, but our head count's up and everything else. And to me, it's like, it is going to boil down to that stuff right there. Cause how are you ever, like, as a sales rep, I'm naturally going to be hesitant to take on any more opportunities that day. If I look out and see that we have 8 loads open,
right?
Why in my right mind would I take on 5 more shipments? And then when it boils down to it, like, and I've talked about this frequently, a lot of these carriers that are going to do everything that we want, like the communication's going to be there. They're going to vouch for, they're going to do all of that stuff, that real partnership. It's really boiling down to about $150. And as a sales rep, I will gladly, if I'm moving 10 loads in a day, I will gladly spend, and it's not even an expense, it's an investment, invest $1,500 more into my carrier network that I know that when they add a second truck, guess who gets that second truck?
Yep.
Old boy here with the orange fucking shirt on, talking shit into a mic.
Yep.
You know?
And when rates move a little bit higher, who's the carrier that will work with you on keeping the rate where it's at?
Exactly. Overpay. And again, I say this a lot. I need to fucking trademark this shit. Overpay them when you don't have to, so they undercharge you when they don't have to. It is that simple, you know? And I just think that's it's just the word relationship's all of a sudden gone. You know, all the posts last week was about how everybody loves drivers, and then you go out there on the load boards and you love them so much, you're offering them $1 a mile, and some of you be like, "Oh, that's the market." The fuck it is the market, you know? Like nobody's running for money at that point, you know?
Yeah, I will say I'm not a big fan of the pretend appreciation for truck drivers once a week, a year.
Yeah, that's exactly
If you really
it.
cared about them, you would do more on the 51 other weeks of the year.
Yeah,
Putting up a post on LinkedIn and telling everybody how much you appreciate them and then asking for business, by the way, you can go fuck yourself.
yeah. Virtue signaling at its right there is what that is. And, you know, again, I think it's like, it's almost like, I forget the term, but some people like to use that as like gaslighting or something like that,
Yeah.
where you're just doing it for your own personal gain, you know? And that's the thing is it's like, you clearly don't give a fuck, you know, you don't, because
The
if
cherry
you,
on top was 9/11.
oh
Let me
yeah,
double post.
yeah,
God bless truck drivers. Go shake their hand. And God bless America. Don't forget about 9/11. P.S. I was born 5 years after it happened.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it, man. It's fucking insane out there. But, you know, again, I just think that for me personally, like I am 1000% convinced of this, and you're not going to be able to shake my opinion on this at all. These next 18 months are going to be the greatest opportunity in the history of this industry to bring on new business and grow your brokerage. And as a carrier too, I know like the carrier side of it's a little fucking murky with fuel and everything else, but a lot of people are going to be leaving, not because they can't make it work, because it's not easy anymore. You know, and that's why people leave the freight market, is because it's not easy anymore. Any truck can survive in today's market. Like any truck can, you know, your costs, you know, your break-even point, your profit margin, stick with your profit margin. I'm not going to say take break-even freight, because you need to make money in this as well. But if you know that, you'll navigate through this. Follow Adam Wingfield. Adam Wingfield talks about this shit all the time from the carrier's perspective. From the broker's perspective, my biggest thing, you guys, is do not fall into the trap of lowering the rates on the drivers. All right. Don't fall into that. It's a short-term reward, because you're going to be hitting reset in about fucking 8 to 10 months whenever this market flips back, or who knows, for as volatile as this world economy is right now, it might flip back next fucking week. Where are you going to be?
Yeah, that's a good point. None of us know. So let's operate our business as if you don't know, instead of pretending like you do.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. And that we're going to get to 2 articles today.
Maybe.
That article though was from FreightWaves. Shippers think a little less of 3PL's value, because why not word it that way? TTnews.com, truck tonnage in August surges 7.4% year over year. It's see, this is the thing to me, Kyle, is it's like one side of the fence is saying one thing, and then another side of the fence is saying another thing. And it's like I understand why so many people are so confused about what the direction of the market's headed in, because there's people in one corner who are very vocal about how everything's fucking falling apart. Rates are plummeting. Freight volumes are plummeting. Everybody's going to be out of business. And then you have other very reliable sources on the other side who are like, freight's actually up. Opportunity's up. Everything's up.
Yep.
Like, yeah, there are certain rates that are down. Obviously, the spot market is down. It's very, very easy to identify that. Ocean rates have fallen, but according to my reliable sources, ocean rates are still above where they were back in 2017, 2018, 2019. So they have fallen. And that's the one thing that I want people to really understand. When you have a fucking cataclysmic rise, it's going to drop back down. And of course, it's going to look a lot worse from an optics perspective. Again, I pay attention to the title of this article, truck tonnage up. That means freight volumes up. That's what I pay attention to. Everything else is fucking white noise, in my opinion.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff associated with this article that are interesting. The reason why the lack of agreement across the industry is because think of the like we don't have any set of standard KPIs or even procedures or policies or anything. We don't have anything. This entire industry is fragmented in every way, shape, and form. So of course nobody's going to agree on anything because no one has one thing to point to and say, yes, this is it. But as far as the tonnage, a lot of people are surprised when they saw this, and it does make sense because all we hear is that volumes are down and prices are down. You know, if price is down, volume has to be down, and that's a different argument that's much, much longer than the time we have left. But what's interesting to me on this is the potential for some of that increased tonnage to be that spot rates are so low that hypothetically we could be pulling some business that does go on rail into over the road. Obviously, the time component is what separates the two. And if the cost isn't that much different, some shippers could opt for it. Now, my preferred metric for volume is not truck tonnage because of this. And because of the reason, I'll put it like this. You know, the trailer is the trailer, right? You're capped at 40,000 pounds. You're also capped at the mass inside of it in terms of the size, like the volume that you're putting inside of that, right? Now, if you stuff that trailer with empty beer cans, it's 5,500 pounds. If you stuff that trailer with roll stock paper, it's 42,000 pounds.
Yeah.
So now when we compare those two loads, the tonnage is completely different, but I used one truck and one trailer to move it. I think when we get to tonnage, it's a little misleading than looking at things as movements. I wish there was some place out there that put things out as movements. There is somebody out there that measures tenders. But again, with the tenders, we're only measuring that. We're measuring when they're contractual. We're not covering everything that's spot. The ability to increase the amount of tenders once one gets rejected exists. So that's not a pure metric. We need to start thinking about these things in terms of movements, right? How many times am I taking a truck out of an origin and putting it in a destination? Because that is capacity. That is demand. When we think about tonnage, the discrepancies and the differences between what's in the back of the truck can skew those numbers a little bit. Although I will say, no matter what, and no matter how you want to think about this, the fact that it's up nearly 8% year over year, that is a number that is large enough to let me know, no matter how you want to think about this market, we are moving more than we did last year. And I don't care if we're pulling it from the rail. I don't care if it's just everybody shipping roll stock paper instead of empty beer cans. The fact of the matter is 8% of growth year over year is a large number. There is plenty of freight out there. No, it is not in the spot market because contract rates are still within all-time highs. So that gets to what you were saying earlier. Like if you have somebody who's, you know, a carrier and they have access to enterprise shippers, their business is doing great. Or if you're a broker with a high contract mix, you're doing great. But if you're that spot guy, you know, if you're the broker who only has spot business, you're probably not doing well and thinking about closing your doors. Or if you're that individual owner op who can't find a partner that allows him access to those dedicated business and he's living off spot boards, life is miserable right now.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And, you know, shameless plug to my friends over at Emerge. That, like, if you're a smaller carrier, get signed up with Emerge because they have access to all of that freight that you're looking for. Yeah. They have that. That's what their entire marketplace is designed around, you know? And, you know, it's again, to me, there is like, when you're talking about spot market dropping and everything else, it can be misleading at times. Yeah. You know, it can be misleading because there is still a lot of, and like, why would you reject a load if you're making money on it? Like, that's not why people reject tenders for one of two reasons. Kyle brought up the first one earlier from a carrier's perspective. If they're broken down and cannot get anything over. But a lot of those carriers who have this have a brokerage and they'll just fucking accept it and they'll have their brokerage move it. But the other one is as from a broker's perspective, shit, I can't sustain another $700 loss. So I'm going to reject the tender and put it out there in the market. So if you're like that has a lot to do with it. And again, take it for what it's worth. I've only moved 3 truckloads in my career, so I've never experienced.
All 3 were on time, right?
Yeah, exactly. 100% on time and everything. But no, you know, and again, we could go on for about another 45 minutes on this topic alone. But again, as I say frequently, you guys, we need to find solutions. All right. Plain and simple. Find solutions for your customers, educate them and provide value. All right. Just because you are a broker does not mean you are entitled to move freight. You have to earn their business. And if you're having trouble finding shippers, you need to look at your sales approach. Would you buy from you? I would challenge you all right now to sit down and ask yourself and be honest, not the 99% of brokers from the other article who said that they're fucking great at their job. Be honest. Would you buy from you? If you call you, would you buy from you? And if you have any hesitancy at all, that's where you start. So
you're 100% right. That's what I always, whenever I have those discussions with a brokerage when I'm working for them, how do we get more customers? That's basically what I say. If you had to, if you were the shipper and you had to listen to the pitch, like, why would they pick you? What is it that you're offering them, right? What is the value you're bringing to that shipper?
Yeah.
And if it's just, hey, I want to get access to your spot board, you're not bringing any fucking value. But as a broker, if you are that person that says, I can take your troublesome freight, I can take the freight that nobody really quotes for you. I have carriers in those areas that you don't do well in. Well, now you're bringing some value.
Yeah. Again, you got to think outside the box. They're not answering your calls. They're not responding to your emails and your voicemails for a reason, because you fucking sound like everybody else. All right. And then in all reality, it's not like they have like a roulette wheel where they're just like, oh, hey, we're going to call this person back. Yeah. It's because, you just got to follow up. There's a lot of power in that. But that's it. That's it for today, man. How's somebody to reach out to you? Everybody knows where to find you on LinkedIn, but if they're wanting to look into your
I'll tell you what, for those that are going to JOC Inland next week, I will be there. I know you're going to be there too, Chris. Hey, pull me aside. I got a ton of stuff, public, semi-public, completely private going on. A lot of it's very interesting. All of it benefits every single participant out there. So take a listen.
Chances are he'll be easy to spot because you'll see a guy in a polo standing near him. Just saying. But yeah, that's it for today, you guys. And as always, if you saw value in it, you guys share the show. All right. That's how we're going to continue to grow, continue to solidify ourselves as the top information provider in this industry. Cause that's what we are, in my opinion. There's nobody who does it better than us. And we're going to continue to fucking bring the value day in and day out. I appreciate you guys all so much. And we'll be talking to you soon.